Hey everyone, so in today's video I'm going to be telling you the story of the time I got scammed by a really big art supply company. I'm not going to name the company involved because I don't want other companies to get scared about potentially hiring me to do stuff for fear that I might drag their name through the mud. If it was something super major, I totally would call them out, but I think I'm not going to. But there are only so many art supply companies that fit the criteria for everything I'm about to say, so it's probably not going to be that hard to figure out. At least you're going to be able to narrow down the list. I will say, however, that it was not Copic. They don't fit the criteria. They are a really big marker company, but they're not a big art supply company in general. I mean, they have quite a few products, but like the company I'm talking about is bigger. Think bigger, broader. They have way more products. Anyway, this company reached out to me. I think initial contact was in late 2015, but we didn't officially get the ball rolling till closer to 2016. This company wanted to update the artwork that was on the packaging for their markers, and so they reached out to me to see if I was interested in doing some art for them. Now, normally I'm not the type of person to take commissions, but if it's something really interesting or a really good opportunity, then I might take it. Particularly if it's to do with a big company that's hiring me to do something. I definitely do not do personal commissions though. And this was one of those cases where I was gonna make an exception because I was like, okay, it's a big company, this is a really awesome opportunity, and like I just want the bragging rights. I was just really excited about it. So I got more information from them and we decided to move forward with everything. The agreement was that I would make art to go on their new marker packaging using the colors that are in the set. And then later that year, once it's all printed and on the packaging and everything, I would make a video coloring in the art again and doing a tutorial, like walking people through how I made that art. So they'd be getting the art out of it and a sponsored video. The agreement was that I would be paid $2,000 US. I would get $1,000 after completing the initial artwork, and then I'd get the second $1,000 after making the video months later. I was looking back at the emails before making this video, and we never had an official contract. There was an agreement and it was attached to the email separately, like a typed up thing, but there was no signature or anything on it. It just outlined what I would be doing, how much I'd be getting paid, and the timeline. I don't think there was anything else beyond that. Like I thought I had a contract, but I'm looking back, I don't think there actually was a legitimate contract. So I decided to move forward with this because I thought it was a really cool opportunity. It was such a big company. I was like, ooh, this is so cool. But at this point, they hadn't finalized what colors were going to be going in that set yet, and they wanted my input on that, which was really cool. They offered to let me just pick the colors for the entire set, but I was a little nervous to do that. So I was like, oh, you guys can pick them and then I'll just give my opinions. And so they had picked out some colors and I had made some suggestions, and then we had finalized what was going to be going in the marker set, and then they sent me those colors. So then I got started on the art. First I drew it and I sent it to them for approval before coloring it in. They approved it, they thought it was great, and then so I then colored it and finished it off and sent it to them. It was approved again, everything was good to go, and they said I'd be getting my payment shortly. This is the actual art in question, but I'm covering the marker in her hand because you'd be able to instantly tell the brand, but this is what it looked like. It was for a manga set of markers, which is why it's a manga character. And I spent a lot of time on that, a lot more than I normally would, because I was really trying to perfect it, trying to do my best work, because this was gonna go on packaging for art supplies, like what? So I spent way more time than I normally would, but I like how it turned out. And you're probably thinking, you got paid $1,000 for that? No, I didn't. Everything was approved and finalized, and I even sent in a form with all the payment info that they needed from me. It was sent off, good to go. So many months went by and I actually forgot about this project. It was around the time I got my book deal, and so everything was super exciting about that. My focus was on that. I totally forgot about the fact that this company commissioned me to make this art. It was November at this point, so more than 6 months had passed, and that was the time when they said they were going to have this thing launched. They said it would be launched by November, and that's when I would do my video. I thought it was weird that they hadn't reached out to me yet for part 2, and then I thought to myself, wait, did I even get the payment for part 1? I wasn't keeping an eye out for it going into my bank account, and I was like, I don't think it went in. So I logged into my online banking, looked at everything, and sure enough, the payment was not there. I never did get paid for part 1. So I reached out to the person I was in contact with because 1, I didn't get paid for part 1, and 2, it was around the time frame that they said we would be working on part 2 of this, which was to make the video of me using the markers. So I sent the email and I never heard back from the person for a while, and I thought, well, maybe they're busy, maybe they just ignored it, because that happens with me. Sometimes emails just get neglected and I forget to go back and reply to them. So I was like, you know, maybe that's the case. I typed another email up, didn't hear back. After emailing the second time, I never reached out again. After that, I didn't try contacting anyone else from the company. Like, I didn't try harassing them on Twitter or contacting their customer service email or anything like that. I just let it go. Part of it was that I just felt stupid reaching out, I guess, because I was like, is this project even going forward? I'm gonna have to contact someone else and it'll look kind of dumb, and it's been so many months and I didn't speak up until now. Also, I was neck deep in book work, and so I was just so busy, I just couldn't be bothered. I just found it odd that that person would stop responding to me, because we would always get back to each other very quickly. This person was so friendly, so nice, and then just out of nowhere stopped responding. My hunch is that that person doesn't even work for the company anymore, and then I kind of just fell through the cracks, because I honestly don't think they would just purposely ignore me. But then I'm also wondering, well, if he's not working there anymore, then there has to be someone who took on his work. Like, if they're in the process of doing new packaging for the product, wouldn't they continue with that? Unless they just totally scrapped that plan. But then wouldn't they reach out? Like, I don't know, it's a weird situation. And they never did end up using my art, which is why I'm like, well, they must have scrapped the whole repackaging idea, because it hasn't happened. And it's been over a year since when they said it would be out. And again, they never reached out for part 2 of our deal, because they said they would contact me because they didn't know the exact date, and then they would have to also send me the markers in the new packaging, all that stuff. So they're like, just wait to hear back from us. And I never heard back. So I think it's safe to say it's just not happening. They've ceased all contact with me. They never did release the new packaging. The reason I'm not chasing them down with pitchforks and whatnot is probably just because it was only a couple days of work. I mean, considering all the email correspondence and all that, that took a lot longer, but in terms of making the actual art and stuff, that part didn't take too long. I worked on it in a couple days. I put a lot of effort in to try to make it really nice, but ultimately it was just a couple days of work. But that's still $2,000, or at least $1,000 for the first part that I never did get. So there's that. Also, just about the pricing, I normally wouldn't charge $1,000 for a commission like this for a company. Really, that was for the sponsored video as a whole. Like, that's how I priced it out in my mind. It was like, okay, this is basically a sponsored video, but I'm submitting the art in advance and then coloring it again later. So that's how it's priced in my mind. I just wanted to make that clear, that I don't charge $1,000 just for a drawing. That's just how the company decided to break it down. They're like, okay, you get half now, half later. But in my mind, that was almost all for the video portion, which never happened. But honestly, what bothered me more than the money was just that this just never happened. I was excited for it to be on the packaging, and it never was. Not only did they hurt my wallet, they hurt my ego. So lessons to be learned from this. I would want a more official contract, because the thing I had wasn't really a contract because there was no signature. The other thing I'd do differently if I could go back in time is maybe get half the payment before I even start working on it. That's a little tricky because not everywhere is willing to do that, but if you do a lot of commissions and those are your terms, then those are your terms. For me, I don't normally do commissions, so I'm just like, oh, okay, we could do it that way. Like, I don't know, it's hard to say. I also wish I was more on the ball about checking for the payment and like getting to them right away saying, hey, I didn't get it, because I didn't notice for months. And so I'm like, man, if I had noticed sooner, maybe I would have gotten a reply. I don't truly have any hard feelings against this company because, like I said, I feel like I just fell through the cracks. I don't think they purposely set out to scam me or anything. I think it was unintentional and it happened. If they reached out to me again to work with me on something, I probably would do it if it was something I was interested in doing, but I would definitely bring this up and be like, you're paying me up front. You're paying me all of it up front. But I wouldn't totally blacklist them, and it's not like I don't use any of their other products. I still do. Like it's just an unfortunate situation. So I definitely got scammed, but I don't know if they know that they scammed me. Unfortunate is all it is. And I'm just thankful it wasn't something more major. It was just a small project, but I wouldn't take on major projects anyway. If someone was like, can you animate this short for me? Or like, can you illustrate my children's book? I'd be like, no. Something like this is easier though, because it's like, okay, it's one illustration and then I recolor it later and make a video. Like that's much easier than doing some giant project. My book is different because that's like mine. That's like under my name. I mean, there's a publisher involved, but like, it's not something like art on a package. It's a whole other beast. But yeah, that's my story about the company that hired me and never paid me. I'm honestly so over it, but I'd like to jokingly get mad about it and be like, oh, those scammers. But really, I'm just like, whatever. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another day of Arty Advent.